Morning everybody, Trish Palmer here, Lumsden Coast Master Hypnotherapist. So welcome to this video. We're going to be talking about prestige and rapport today. I remember when I first learned about this, I was like, you know what? It's my clinic. I'll run it however I want. Wow. Was I in for an eye-opener? Not only was I totally out of my mind, but I didn't get the message. I didn't get the message that I can still run my clinic exactly the way I want to, but I also had to have prestige and rapport with my clients. This wasn't about me running my clinic or anything like that. This was about me getting into rapport and creating prestige with my clients. And there is a difference between prestige and rapport as well. So let's get on with today's session. So prestige and rapport. When people are like each other, they like each other. Getting into rapport with your client comes down to three major factors. So the very first major factor is your words. The words only make up for 7% of communication in a whole. 7%. And even in that 7% of communication, your client is only going to hear approximately 33% of that 7% and going to actually retain the information. Hi, Geraldine. And they're going to retain that information. So even after that 7% of communication, 33% of that 7% is going to be what the client actually takes in and takes on board. So that's a very small chunk of information that we're relying on. The second part is tonality. Tonality makes up for 38% of conversation. So it's not what you said, it's how you said it. There's been many times where I've actually gotten into a consult when I first started and I was all excited and keen, and then the client was like, and I actually took too much energy away from them, and then they ended up not being a client. So I'd go, oh, what am I doing here? And then I learnt some more about tonality, and now I'm nailing it left, right, and center. Physiology caters for 55% of communication. We've all been there, we've all done it. We've seen someone walking down the street or something like that, and then all of a sudden, we're just like, wow, I think they're in a bad mood or something like that, because you're picking up on the communication of physiology. And this is what's going to help you inside your practice, inside your clinic, wherever it is that you're going, even with your family and friends and things like that. This stuff works when you work with all kinds of people. So if you look at the physiology of someone and take away their words, that is the real truth. That is what they're really going through. Because anyone can say that they're quite happy and they're having a wonderful day, but their physiology can be really down and out. So can their eyes, so can their hair, the way they hold themselves. So look at how they're dressed and how they're communicating, because this mentions 55% of communication to your clients. So mirror and matching your clients creates rapport. That's when people like each other, they like each other. So your words, use the same words as your clients and tell them that you understand them. I had a client just the other day and her word was fuck-itity. And I was like, wow, I've never heard of fuck-itity before. But I made sure that when I responded with her, I'm like, oh, it was totally fuck-itity out of place. So I used their words. There's no point in me telling a client that they're having anger issues if they're saying that they're cross. Because they're not going to relate to that. Because they're going to say, no, I'm not angry, I just get cross. It's the same thing, but it's all about communication and creating rapport. So I can say to them, well, let's help you get out of this situation where you're feeling cross. That relates better to your client, you're speaking their language, and you're mirroring and matching them much better. Take notice of the content that they are expressing. Listen to the information that's going on behind the information. There can be times when people will actually be telling a story, but it's a metaphoric story. So it's nothing to do with, what they're actually talking about. It's the emotion behind it. I've had many people in my room that have told me a story, but it's just a very sad story. So I'm starting to work with people that are suffering from sadness or melancholy here, because that's the expression that's coming through. Listen to their experiences. Sometimes I actually let my client pour out fully, no matter what the session, because it's not about that initial thing that they were talking about. They'll start a story which will lead to another story which leads to the true core, but they never actually come back to what happened in the first story. So listen to their experiences, because there may be something deeper down inside them that they're actually wanting to get out, but they can only tell you about their experiences and in their stories. When it comes to your tonality, what volume is your client talking in? Because if your client is talking rather soft and very patiently, then you should talk soft and patiently as well. Make sure you copy it. This is where you're getting into rapport with your client. People like people that are like them. That's how it works. What speed is your client talking at? If they're talking quite fast, then you may want to speed it up a little and keep up with them. So make sure you copy it. What quality is your client talking at? You get some people that are very, very educated and they use these really big words. You use them as well. And then you'll get some people that just like, oh, I don't know, it's just flim-flammy and yeah, it could be something like that, blah, blah, blah. That's a lower quality way of speaking. So mirror it, copy it. There's nothing wrong with mirroring your client. What tone is your client talking at? Is it an angry tone? Is it a frustrated tone? Copy it and then bring them out of it as you go through more of the session, because you have to start at the same level of them and then bring them back to a better place. There's no point in a client coming in and going, no, 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 and then you're going, calm down, it's okay, because they're up here. They don't want to be down here yet. They want to get that frustration out. So start up here going, yes, I understand you're very frustrated. So now let's just slowly calm down and we'll talk out the problem and we'll sort it out. So that way we're bringing them down to a more comfortable zone where we can start talking to them. Your physiology. There's been quite a few times where I've walked into a doctor's surgery and the first thing they're doing is like, yep, typing away on the computer, how can I help you today? They don't even look at you. Check out your posture, and if it's something, is your posture of someone who's confident, who knows what they're doing, or is it tired? Get into state. Get into state where you have energy for this client. Treat every single client as if they're that first client of the day and you're really looking forward to helping them, because your client is going to pick up on that and they're going to go, you're tired today. And then that's going to drop down your rapport. It's going to drop down the prestige, and your client is not going to get everything that they're looking for out of the session. Many times as a client is just knocking on the door, I take a nice deep breath. I smile and I'm like, let's do this, Trish. Let's help this client. Ensure that your gestures are correct for the conversation. Make sure you're mirroring people, because there's some people that don't use their hands at all and there's some people that use them a lot. So make sure you're mirroring someone. There's no point in putting your hands in someone's face if they don't do gestures and things like that. So make sure your gestures are completely appropriate for the conversation. Breathe at the same pace as your client or slower. You will find that this will become automatic as you work more and more with clients. So if they are elevated breathing, breathe a little bit deeper and then slowly slow it down, and your client will automatically start to mirror you. What are you expressing about yourself? What is your energy telling your clients? Is it a tiredness? Is it excitement? Is it a relaxed? Mirror your clients, bring them into rapport, and then get them to relax as well. So if you are feeling really excited and your client's like, nah, it's okay, then by all means go with the relaxed, laid back sort of attitude and then slowly bring your client into excitement. Match the energy levels of your client as well. There are heaps of clients that come in and they've got so much energy because they're excited to see you, and you might be on your 4th or 5th client for the day. You have to step up, get into state, breathe, and then grab all that energy and go again. Prestige is what is known as spoken by the environment around you. Creating prestige is very easy, and I'm going to give you some simple tips, okay? When I've actually walked into some hypnotherapist clinics, and I've literally walked around, looked at the place and gone, ugh, this poor guy can't be doing too well because the paint hasn't been changed since 1943. So make sure that your environment that people are walking into is creating the right level of prestige. There was actually one clinic that I went to, and the lady had a fold-out camp chair, which she'd paid $10 for from Kmart. That doesn't create good prestige. It doesn't create good rapport. And in all honesty, at the end of it, I said to her, look, I do apologize. I said, I'm not going to be paying for this service because I felt like it wasn't of high quality. So make sure your prestige is out there. And here are some tips. Have your certifications displayed well. There's no point in just blue tacking them to the wall or pinning them to a board. Get some nice frames, get them all matching, and put them out in a display. Make sure that they are there. So that way people can just gauge across them, and then all of a sudden they're like, wow, you have done some training. They're probably not going to look into the fine print of it, and if they do, who cares? Because you have your registrations, you've gotten yourself up there, and your training is absolutely worth it. Also, what is your dress code like? Is it clean and casual, professional, or business? I've even been to massage places where the massage therapist has just sort of been in their tracksuit pants and their Ugg boots and things like that. Doesn't really create really good rapport with me. Hey, I don't mind a really good massage therapist that's relaxed, but when I'm going into a professional environment, jazz it up a little, take it up a next level, because when this person walks in and they are ready to help you, that physical communication, that physiology says to me, wow, this person knows what they're doing. So look at your dress code and ensure that it is of high standards, good quality, energetic, very nice and clean. Also, what about your area? Is it clean and welcoming? Hey, even I've had a few cobwebs floating around, but is it a clean and welcoming area? I get people coming into my room and I have a massive steampunk chandelier on the roof, and people come into my room and say to me, wow, Trish, fairies live here. This is a beautiful environment. As soon as people walk into my room, they're already starting to breathe slower. They're starting to relax more. They're starting to already give themselves some resources. So what's your area like? Is it clean and welcoming? Is your chair comfortable? Does it create the wow factor when people come in so that they know that you're a professional? Have a look at it. And even if you're in a rental property, it's amazing what you can do with some fabrics and some displays. You can even get some floating floorboards these days and put them down. Make sure that the floor is fantastic, the curtains are fantastic, and it's very clean and welcoming. Also, display your registrations and your logos. I really love displaying this stuff because people look at it. That even if they're not actually engaging in it, they are already subconsciously taking in that whole and entire environment. So have your logos and your registrations displayed, even if it's just a tiny little fold up piece of paper right next to your business cards, and they will take that in on a subconscious level. They're looking for all that stuff subconsciously, even if they're not doing it consciously. And also take feedback on rather than criticism. If a client says to you they don't feel like they were under hypnosis, then take that on as feedback and then ask them, what does hypnosis feel like to you? Ask them to explain it and then do a reframe and help them out. You're going to get criticism no matter what job you do and no matter how perfectly you do, because the only right any human has is to change their mind, and if they're in a mood, they will nitpick to bring you down to their level. So you're going to get criticism no matter what you do in life. Just take it as feedback and move on. So rapport and prestige will allow you to attract the clients that you are wishing to work with. Be what you want to attract. I work with a lot of older women that are suffering from menopause, IBS, pain, anxiety and depression, and they're usually mothers that have had enough and they're not coping. So they're the clients that I'm attracting. I have a very casual and clean uniform as such, and I make sure that my clients are always feeling welcome and that I'm very down to earth and that they can talk to me. So be what you want to attract, because that is what will come back to you. So please join me next week in my next video. I'm going to be talking about levels of trance and vibrations. So this is where we start to get into the more hypnosis side. I'm also going to be talking about solfeggios as well. Solfeggios are beautiful and they can really help boost your clinic and your clients' results to the next level. So please join me in the next video and I'll see you on Tuesday next week. Bye-bye. Mwah.